Alright, we're going to give you a little demonstration of what to look for in a good tent. I'm going to be setting up the REI Half Dome and show you a few features to look for when you're trying to pick out a good tent. So if you see, as you see here, we've got the pole set up, just a basic dome shape, and we've got the ground cloth. And I can move it around kind of like one unit, which is really nice when you're trying to set up in the rain or something like that. That can be very helpful to have it all kind of as one deal. So we've got that. These are aluminum poles. If you can get aluminum over fiberglass, that's a lot better. The aluminum poles are much lighter. This is a two-man tent, and it's still pretty light. So another great benefit of a tent like this is that it has a custom footprint. Now you can get, if your tent doesn't come with a custom footprint, you can get just a heavy-duty plastic tarp to go underneath, but it's a little bit more cumbersome. It doesn't fit right under it. Whereas this, you see, I can pick the tent up as one unit. The footprint stays on it. And it's really great. You need to have a footprint as protection for the bottom of your tent, otherwise rocks or debris and things can cut the bottom of the tent. So we've got this part set up already. Our next step will be to set up the inner portion of the tent, which is pretty simple. All I need to do is lay the tent out, and there's four corners and there's little grommets at the corners, and all I do is just place the grommet underneath. It hooks on the bottom of the pole, which is just a little peg that extends down, and I do that for all four corners. Once I have that hooked on, then all I need to do is raise the middle and hook in the center, and then I just hook all these clips along the side. Really pretty quick setup. In fact, this tent is so simple to set up that you can actually set it up in the rain and keep most of your stuff dry. I'll kind of demonstrate how that works in a moment. One of the other great things about the REI Half Dome is that for a two-man tent, it's very light. You can check the REI website for the specifics, but I believe it only weighs somewhere around between 5 and 6 pounds. So if you're backpacking, which is what here at CMO we do quite a bit of, this is going to really help keep your pack lighter. Now you can go with a one-man tent. If you look right over here, Nathan has got the MSR Hubba, and it's just a one-man ultralight tent, and it's, what is it, about 3 pounds, something like that? Yeah. So you've got a lot less room. The downside to a tent like this is that you don't have enough room inside for your pack. You pretty much have to put your pack on the ground under the vestibule, which is not the end of the world. It's very doable if you prefer that. Or if you want to keep everything inside with you, possibly have room for a second person, then you've got the two-man is a good option. So once we've got the inner part set up like that, the next step is the rain fly. Just kind of throw this over. Then I go around and same system as I did with the inner portion of the tent. I've just got grommets. I bring this down and I hook the grommet underneath right around that little post. And I do that on all four corners. Now another thing that's nice about the REI Half Dome, as I said earlier, is it's one of those tents that you can set up in pretty heavy rain and not get wet. And the way you would do that is a little different than I've done it here. You would set up the poles to start with and the ground, or the footprint, and then instead of setting up the inner portion of the tent, you would just immediately throw the rain fly over the top to stop the rain from falling on your stuff. You kind of throw your bag underneath, get inside, and then once you're inside with your bag and you've got this over the top, you've gotten the rain off of you, and you can actually set up the whole rest of the tent from the inside. You can clip all the inner part, you can hang the hooks and do the whole 9 yards, and then once you've got it done, you know, you get your rain jacket on, you come back outside and stake it down. Okay, another nice feature about this tent, and there's several other tents that have that too, is the flow-through ventilation on the top. Once I've got the rain fly in place, I can pop open these vents here, and that allows air to flow through completely through the top of the tent. And the reason that's important is because it cuts down on condensation. Especially here in the Carpathians and moist environments, condensation is something we really battle against. And you can get almost as wet in the inside of your tent from condensation as you can from a tent leaking. In fact, a lot of people, I think their tent is leaking, when in reality it's not. It's just that they don't have any ventilation in there and they're getting a lot of condensation. So the flow-through vent feature is really nice if you can find it. Try to get a tent that has really, well, probably most of them will have it these days, but the lighter the stakes, the better. You can get amazingly lightweight aluminum stakes. These are not bad right here. They come even lighter than this. But when you're staking down your tent, you want to have it tight, because if it's loose and sagging, that that's just inviting leakage. But on the other hand, when you're staking it down, you don't want to pull it too tight. I've seen guys that tried to pull their tent so tight they pulled it out of square and it gets kind of all twisted. That can be a problem also. Okay, now once you have the 4 corners staked, the last step would be to stake out the vestibules. Now this tent, another good thing about this tent is that it has 2 vestibules. That's not an absolute must, but it's really nice. It allows you to enter the tent from either side. Also gives you extra storage space, especially if you have a smaller tent like the Hubba from MSR. Then you're gonna need that vestibule to store your pack, or like for us, we're not just camping. You know, we're down here doing evangelism, so we a lot of times will have literature with us, and sometimes you'll have to store some of that under the vestibule. It's a nice place to put your boots. You don't want to put your boots inside the tent if they're all muddy and grubby. So you can stick them under the vestibule and keep them dry, but still not have them in the tent. Now this has kind of an adjustable system here where I can kind of get it where I want it, get the stake in the ground, and I can take and tighten it by pulling on this string, latch it on, and now I've got a real tight rain fly there that's going to shed water. So anyway, that's the REI Half Dome. Those are some things to look for when you're selecting a tent. Do be sure and get a good tent, because if you get a bad tent, you will regret it, and you'll probably be shopping around here in Ukraine to get a replacement.